We are part of a small city that is one of the most segregated cities in America.
In our school, a majority of our students live in poverty. Over 98% of them read below grade level.
What's happened in schooling is that first it was white flight, then it was middle class flight. Now, we don't have a situation where just white middle class kids have left Rochester, but middle class African and Latino kids often, not always, have left Rochester as well.
What I noticed is this is more of a police state than the academic environment. You had a population on record of about 1,400 kids, where only about 1,200 attended daily. You had over 3,000 suspensions that year, and 25% of its students had gotten into at least one physical fight.
The leader of the Rochester City School Board came to us and essentially said, East High School is on a list where it may be put out of business by the state. It's a failing school.
What happens is the more you select out kids, you are left with a group of kids for whom there is no recourse. And they end up in a so-called failing school, partially failing because all the success factors have been removed.
And so it's a school that has many of the issues associated with poverty and unemployment, but it also has a rich tradition in the community.
I had to have the support of my board. And my board initially, I think, were supportive, but skeptical. And they were concerned about reputational risk.
If we say no, then what? If not us, who? You know, there was no backup plan. There was no plan B. The school's going to close.
I said to them, if we did it, the only reason really to do it is if we can have a transformative effect. We're there, in effect, to say, we can use this as a model for addressing challenged urban schools.
We're seeking the opportunity to take a school that has been failing the last 10 years and to transform it to become an example of what our students and staff can produce when given the right systems and structures.
And there are some generalizable principles, but you have to start with the particular. And the particular, is often a student who doesn't have enough money for shoes, a student who slept in an abandoned jalopy the prior night, a student who saw a shooting 4 days ago. And these are various levels of crises or trauma that are real. And we needed a way to talk to the students and listen to them. And we needed a way to keep them in school and keep them excited.
Year one was truly about reestablishing a culture that reflected the voices of our staff, the voices of our students, and the voices of our community.
And it was going to take support both from the city school board and from the state education department. They were quite clear they wanted us to do it fast.
A person that gets hurt by someone else.
It went well beyond just the curriculum and instruction. We had to deal with issues of trauma, we had to deal with issues of educational neglect, we had to deal with issues within the community.
There were separate negotiations with the labor unions. The key was we had to find more resources. Steve correctly insisted on a planning year, worked with an extraordinarily large number of faculty in the Warner School, at one point 24 of 38, on putting together a planning document.
We rehired the entire faculty and staff. That's 225 people. Actually doing classroom observations on all the teacher candidates, which were over 500, and making a judgment about who should come to work at East, all within 3 months. That was really quite an undertaking.
When you talk about revising curriculum for every subject area, there are about 17 subject areas, grades 6 through 12. 6th grade English Language Arts is an entirely different course from 7th grade English Language Arts. There are 180 days in a year. You're rewriting what's going to occur for kids for 72 minutes a day for 17 times 7 grade levels, right? The to-do list is exponential around one thing, rewriting curriculum, right? And that was one of many things that we said we would take on. I told you I didn't sleep for 4 months. I mean, I basically had to fight down panic. I don't know if I should admit that, because it was just like, it takes so many people to do that kind of work.
Morning, how are you?
We also hired more teachers. We have more literacy teachers. Our kids get 2 periods of mathematics and 2 periods of ELA every day, grades 6, 7, 8, and 9. That's an extra teacher for each of those subjects all along the way.
In grades 9 through 12, we knew that if students did not move past the 9th grade, they were much more likely not to graduate.
Long-term, you want to be self-sufficient. You don't want to have to depend on your boo or your crew. Got it? You want to be able to take care of yourself.
Our teachers work an 8-hour workday, and previous to us coming, it was a 6.5-hour workday.
What period of history is this? We have it on the board.
In our first year, 80% of our students moved from grades 9 to 10 with the proper credits. The previous year, that number was closer to 45%. So there was some immediate impact, and our teachers have done an incredible job of owning that responsibility.
Okay, how are we doing? Do we need more time?
This is truly a teacher-inspired, teacher-motivated, teacher-constructed, co-constructed process.
Okay, so now cross multiply, and then we're going to divide by that number.
If we are to have success, it must lie in the hands of those teachers. We decided to move to a 6-8 building at a lower school and a 9-12 building at the upper school with a 9th grade academy that was keenly focused on getting kids the right credits, having one-on-one mentoring and tutoring for those students to ensure they got to grade 10. So at the lower school, their day begins at 7:30 and it ends at 3. There are roughly 160 kids per grade level, and those students are yellow bused in. We decided to move to a yellow busing system because it allowed for accountability between parents and the school. You didn't have this 12-year-old 6th grader getting on a bus with a 19 or 20-year-old senior and being exposed to all those things that 19 and 20-year-old seniors do. And the parents wanted that. They feared of safety in the morning on the public transportation. They felt much more comfortable sending their kids on a yellow bus.
Both of you are kind of admitting your part in it. Like, you're admitting that you threw something at her, and you're admitting that you stood up and, I don't know, did you swing first?
We moved away from pure punitive discipline. Not that we don't suspend kids, we do, but that's down about 75 to 80%.
Do you want to add something else?
Can I say something quick?
Yes.
Boy, this is exactly why I don't like Ms. Garfield, because she said, did I hit you first? Exactly, Ms. Garfield said I hit her first. I was like, no, that's not what happened.
Schooling is a series of complex relationships, so how do we build those relationships?
What were you thinking, and what were you feeling during the interaction between you and Amaya? What were you thinking, and what were you feeling?
And we moved to restorative practices, where kids are actually asked to participate in discussions about their behavior and how it impacted them and the people around them. We have a period built in every single day where kids are in what we call family group.
Are there things that you do with your family during vacation that you find exciting and looking forward to?
Which is a chance to be with an adult who knows them well and talk about issues they're facing, as well as talk about things they need to do to get done for school, to graduate.
Some days it's just kicking back and having fun and playing board games. It is an incredible opportunity for us to break down this barrier between students and this barrier between students and staff. And it flattens this hierarchy structure that says that there is a superintendent, then a principal, then a teacher, then a student. And it says in this moment, we're all family and we're all equal. And our voices are equally valued.
Good. Keep it up. High scholars.
I would challenge anybody who walked through the halls in 2014-15 or 2013-14 to walk through today, and you'd be convinced we had different kids. We do not. Our kids are great kids, and they were great kids then, but there is a different culture around how we interact with each other.
Collectively, we saw in year one this kind of messy muddling through of emotion. Like, what does this really mean when students have an equal voice? What does it mean when administration empowers teachers in ways that allow them to create and to hold themselves accountable for the success of the school?
There are a lot of actors in this. There's the city, there's the school district. We have to try to work with everybody together, keep everybody on the same page. And we'd be the first to admit that the solution we're seeking for urban education is going in more expensive, but we think coming out is less expensive.
The key is not to assume this is easy. This is really hard.
What we inherited was much worse than we anticipated. And so I would say that there are many indicators that indicate we are moving in the right direction. Our student suspensions are the lowest in the district. Our time on task has greatly improved. Teachers have, in many different ways, owned the success of this building through curriculum writing, through improved instruction.
When you come in completely unannounced to room after room after room and people are doing really good things, you know, I feel really good about that. I can sleep sometimes. You know?
If you only do safe projects, you don't advance your communities, you don't advance your research mission, you don't advance the university, you don't excite your students, you don't excite your faculty.
We have work to do. Attendance is still an issue for students who are overage and undercredited. That's been an issue that we've dealt with from year one. It's an issue that we deal with citywide.
We're in a symbiotic relationship with Rochester. The stronger Rochester is, the stronger university.
Are we out of the woods? Absolutely not. We knew we wouldn't be out of the woods when we started. And I don't know if we'll be out of the woods in 5 years, but I can tell you that we are starting to see clearing through the brush.